All right. Okay. So, hi everybody. Welcome to our last community meeting for January 2019. Nice to see y'all. I hope you're doing well. Want to give a shout out to Shivam, who's with us today. Shivam is our first quarter friend of Add-ons. Shivam joined our community about a year and a half ago, and he has been awesome. He dove right in, fixing bugs on AMO, building an extension, um, joining the featured add-ons advisory board, and he's been really helpful welcoming new contributors to fixing bugs on AMO, which is super awesome. So it's nice to know that we have community who are kind of like our first group of friendly faces that folks see when they come join our project. So yay, Siobhan, thank you so much for sharing your energy and passion with us. It's pretty great. All right, I do want to take a quick minute for everyone to just note what the weather is like in your area. We've heard that things on the eastern side of North America are pretty chilly right now. Also heard that things in Europe are pretty chilly. Mountain Views, we're gonna get rain, which is nice for us. Uh, so we're fine, but we're a little worried about the rest of y'all, to be totally honest. So it looks like Sylvain is wearing a t-shirt in Montreal today at negative 10 degrees Celsius. That's pretty great. BJ in Massachusetts. All right. 23 Fahrenheit. You're in the positive. That's great. uh, so yeah, anytime in a meeting, feel free to just add a note about the weather where you are, and we will all either hug or high five you. That is the add-ons process promise. Um, so first I wanted to get started talking about FOSDEM. See if anybody in here is planning on going. FOSDEM is a open source conference that's held annually in Brussels at the University of Brussels, I think. And it's like this crazy 2-day gathering of awesome open source people. Mozilla usually sponsors a room and has a couple of talks. Is anyone here planning on going? Andreas? No, Andre. Do you know if Philip's going this year?
I don't know for sure. He was considering it, but I don't know whether he went through with it.
Okay, cool. Um, so Luca, one of the web extensions engineers, is going to be there. The last I heard, Tom, also known as Zombie, who's also a web extensions engineer, is planning on going. Um, that's all that I know about add-ons folks who are thinking about going. So if you end up in FOSDEM, feel free to reach out to them and say hi. They'll be around, and I'm sure they would love to meet up with you and say hi. Yeah, and if you're planning on going to FOSDEM, let us know so that we can make sure that Luca and Tom know, and they can go and say hi to you. Tom, I think, is might be giving a talk. I don't know if it's about his web extension or his extension development work or not. Tom built an extension last year that anonymizes code reviews, so you don't know whose code you're reviewing. That's supposed the premise behind that is that this could maybe help eliminate some internal bias that code reviewers have when reviewing code of other people. So that was a really interesting experiment that he did in collaboration with our Open Innovation. So that could be really cool. We'll see if we can get a slides or something to share out. Next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to talk again a little bit about our goals for 2019 and kind of like what that means for Firefox and what that means for extensions. So we're not going to go into any details, but I did want to just kind of like frame this conversation. So we have a mandate as the Firefox group that we need to be prioritizing user safety, security, and privacy features. So that's kind of where you're going to see the Firefox group focus on a lot in 2019. What that means for add-ons is that we're going to try to make the experience of having add-ons safer. So one of our goals this year is to make add-ons safer for end users, and we're not entirely sure what uh, what exactly like projects and initiatives we're going to build to get to that end state. But that's something that we're looking at. We blocked a lot of add-ons last year, and to be fair, there's a lot of nuance behind that and reasons why last year was a big year for blocklisting for us. But something that we're seeing a lot is kind of increased user data theft from malicious extension developers, and that's an industry-wide problem right now. So you might have seen a thing from Chrome saying that they're planning on deprecating the web request API. So that's an API that is incredibly powerful, and ad blockers use it to block ads from you, but malicious developers could also use it to track everything you do. So the Chrome proposal has been upset a lot of people in the industry for sure. So folks have asked for Mozilla to respond to that. What I can say right now is that the Chrome's decision or Chrome's proposal was not made in collaboration with Mozilla. That was something that they came up with on their own, and that we'll be trying to make our response to that public in the next couple of days. We've been working on it and circulating it internally to make sure that everybody in the organization is on the same page. And then we'll try to post our response on the Add-ons blog. So just keep your eyes open on that. So some other things so as we continue to develop like the projects and initiatives that are around the Make Users Safer goal, we'll share those out. This group, our leaders of the Add-ons community, y'all will hopefully be the first to know. Like as soon as we know, we'll try to share it with y'all to get your feedback and see how we can get the community involved in this. But that's kind of where we're headed right now. So do we have any questions about the Firefox goals for 2019? Anything I can help answer? Okay, cool. Some of the stuff that other groups within Firefox are working on right now is also deepening relationships with Firefox users. So the way that that's translating right now is into premium services and things that will add value. So like one example of a premium service is that like if you're a Firefox user, you can maybe get a special bundle for like one of our favorite VPN services, and you would pay a little bit of money and you would get like this really great thing that adds benefit and that also is in alignment with our mission. So we have a couple of different groups in the product team that are kind of thinking on what those premium services are going to look like, and those will be rolling out as the year continues. Yeah. All right. So then I wanted to just share, so we do have some cool add-ons, tangential things coming to Firefox either now or shortly. So first of all, a multilingual Firefox is coming in Firefox 65, which I haven't checked which train it is yet, so I'll throw up a link to which train is it. Basically, the process for changing the locale of your Firefox was a little bit complicated in the past, and multilingual Firefox's goal is to make that process a lot easier, and the UI is a lot better. So we'll be trying to update that documentation. You might want to check. Oh, thank you, Andreas. Oh, look. Okay, so 65 is in release sometime today. Thanks so much, Andreas. I really appreciate that. So if you want to check that out and just play around with it, that would be super awesome. So that project was headed by Mark Streamer on our Web Extensions API engineering team. The next thing I just want to note is that extensions in private browsing has been something we've been thinking about for a really long time. So in Chrome, when you're in incognito mode or private browsing, you have the option to disable extensions so that they can't track your activities or have any access to any of the data associated with activities that you do in incognito mode. We've now reached parity with that in Firefox. So that's going to be landing in Firefox 67 a little bit later this year. But that build is in nightly now, or it will be in nightly very shortly, like within the next day or so. So basically what's going to happen is that when you start a private browsing window, all of your extensions will be disabled by default. And then as a user, what you can do is you can go into the add-ons manager and you can grant extensions permission to run in private browsing. So we think that this is a big win for our users. We also want to do a little bit of messaging specifically to our developers, because developers, we think, will also have the ability now to just go ahead and say in their manifest that this extension cannot run in private browsing, period. Like, users, users won't even be able to turn it on in private browsing. That will not go the other way, though. We will not let developers say, this extension will run in private browsing regardless of what the user wants. That's not going to happen. And we understand that there might be some folks with running enterprise Firefoxes that want to be able to restrict that. That will have to be managed through the enterprise policies that their group sets. So if anyone here is from the enterprise group and has some questions about that, please feel free to reach out to us and let us know, and we'll do our best to help out. So those are two really exciting things that are coming. We also have something that we're calling DiscoTar, which is a telemetry-assisted add-ons recommender in the discovery pane of the add-ons manager. That's either going to be shipping on a 65 dot release, so not the actual 65 release, but maybe one of the little mini releases that happens in between, or it'll be landing in 66. So basically what'll happen is when you're in about add-ons and the discovery pane is we can use telemetry to identify what extensions you already have installed and recommend extensions that other people with similar profiles can also install. Keep your eyes open for that. So the next thing, okay, so any questions about cool stuff happening in Firefox? All right. Yes, awesome. Okay, so we've reached out to a couple of folks about this documentation project update that we've been working on. So just to take a quick step back and explain it a little bit, right now, all of the information for Firefox extension developers lives on MDN. We have a request from MDN to move everything that's Firefox specific off of MDN and onto its own site. MDN really wants to be browser agnostic. It wants to be about technologies that you use to build the web. So in all likelihood, information about the Web Extensions API, which is a cross-browser initiative, will be able to stay, but stuff that's more specific to AMO and to the Firefox workflow, we've been asked to take that off and host it onto its new site. So this presents us with a pretty great opportunity to actually just reimagine the way that information is classified and the way that information is presented. So one thing that I kind of wanted to throw out into the universe for feedback is, is there any way that you would like to see the information presented to you? And feel free to think outside of the box for that. We're looking at some other sites like the Alexa Skills developer documentation site, which is very clear and very easy to navigate. We're looking at sites like that for inspiration to just kind of like rethink how this information gets presented and ways that it can be easier to digest for folks. So this is my open call. If you have any suggestions, please let us know. Otherwise, we'll keep you updated as it moves forward. We're going to be looking at mapping out kind of like what this looks like over about the next 5 weeks, and then we're going to try to hire a contractor and get this project underway. Yeah. Okay, cool. Any questions about the documentation project? Great, awesome. All right, I see that we have some questions. So we have a question from Sylvain that says, any ballpark date about an official public Mozilla response and web extensions and Google Chrome incoming changes with Manifest v3? That is a great, that is a great question. We're working that out right now. We have a document that we think is in pretty good shape. We're not quite sure what changes need to be made to it before we put it into a public space. So I would say that you can expect to see something probably within the next week. We're working on some other communications about add-ons. So I think the question for us right now is whether or not we include that response to the web request proposal with that, or if that's a separate communication. So that we started working on that yesterday. So that like figuring out the timing of that and what format that needs to take. So that'll probably continue today. And I would think that, I mean, I would assume that it's going to be within a week. It may be longer. I think we'll see what happens. But this is something that we've been asked about a lot, and we really do want to be able to have a public statement, I think, at this point. yeah, about our thinking about it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. I actually had a question from Andreas that came up that I would that I'll throw in here. So we've been talking a little bit internally about Mozilla's NDA program and NDAs for contributors. Traditionally, we haven't NDA'd our add-on reviewers, even though they have access to privileged information. It just before, like a couple years ago, there was just not a really clear process for how to put the NDA through. Our Open Innovations team has made that process a lot easier, and it just hasn't really been on my radar to do anything about it. So the pros about signing the NDA is that you get access to a lot of information that isn't ready for public consumption yet, which also includes some of the plenary sessions and some of the other video recordings that come out of the all hands meetings, which usually don't get released to the public. You can usually get them on Air Mozilla if you have the NDA. If you've signed the NDA, like basically the account knows that you've signed the NDA and you have access to a lot more information. What that also means, though, is that you can't necessarily share that until it's ready for release. So that's the one caveat. I think it's worth having, and I think now that we've kind of like started talking about things that are going through a lot more internal development before they go public, what I would like to see happen is all of our reviewer team, so that means the co-reviewers and the content reviewers, sign the NDA so that we can start looping you into conversations a little bit earlier in the process. So in order to get the NDA, you do have to have an account on Mozillians.org, and that account has to be under two-factor authentication. So you can do that either through your GitHub account or through your Firefox account. We've got some FAQs on how you do that. But we're at like 90% of like everybody's under NDA. We've just got a handful of folks yet who we still need to get NDA'd. And then we can start having a few more internal discussions. So that's my request to our review community. All right, are there any other questions? Or any other weather updates? I think Xander PM'd me with his weather update, so I'm just going to put that in here. All right. It looks like the Netherlands and Massachusetts are enjoying similar weather, so that's a fun fact that we learned today. Okay, thanks everybody for going along with the weather update. It's January. We gotta get our entertainment somewhere. So as always, if you have any questions about what's going on or you'd like some more information, please feel free to reach out to us directly. We're happy to answer questions to the best of our abilities. And thanks y'all for being a part of the Addons community. We appreciate having you around.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right, see you later. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.